Welcome to Franklin Upfront Live, an audio file for audiophiles. Today is Monday, March 6, 2023. Thank you for tuning in. I am your host, Mr. Franklin. And today is going to be a very good, informative show. Hold on. And I hope that the show edifies the heart and ears of the listener. This week's topic: where, perhaps when, is the wall? Now, when people talk about wall, they think you're talking about an actual fence, a fence between houses, or a fence between countries, unfortunately. Like the famous popular wall that was in the news quite often in 2016 during a certain presidential election. Right? And so therefore, for that reason, when people talk about the wall, they think it's a physical thing, and they quite often ask, where is the wall? But if they are not in the Manosohere, if they're not in MGTOW or CISPIM or Passport Bros or one of these movements for young men to secure their independence, then they are not particularly aware that the wall might not be a physical location per se. Not really, I mean, yes, it is. Traditionally, that is the context. But what MGTOW is referring to is not the traditional context of the word. They use hitting the wall as a euphemism to refer to a female who is aging and therefore losing her beauty and male attention by means of her aging. She's no longer as sexually attractive as she once was, and therefore she is said to be hitting the wall. Now, and so for that reason, the wall in this context is not so much really where is the wall, but when is the wall? Which brings us to the point of the topic of today's show. Now, each man is different, and there's an old adage that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So, with that said, the wall may differ from man to man as it relates to an aging broad losing her physical beauty. Quite often, MGTOW says that a female and an aging broad is hitting the wall when, or as a matter of fact, he says that she's hitting the wall. He quite often, whenever he says that she's hitting the wall, he quite often is saying it's out of spite, suggesting that the female is experiencing her karma, her retribution, The universe have dealt her the retribution of premature aging. As a result of all of the misgivings of her youth and the men she stepped over on her way to the top when she was 21, 22, 25, and all those ages, she thought she was too hot, too good looking for some guys, and so therefore she may have contributed, whether or not she was aware of it, to the incel status of these guys. Even though I already told you 3 years ago in season one that there is no such thing as an incel. But for men who, for whatever reason, they're obsessed with one particular woman or a particular type of women, something that we've also referred to as one-itis. That man may not be so willing to explore all his options. And that may be the contributing factor to his inceldom. The fact that he's obsessed with one particular type of woman. Nonetheless, that man would envy the female beauty and say that she's acting like she's too posh, she's too uppity, or in Jamaica we say stush, she's too stush. And so therefore, when she starts to age, if she has not yet been married and she's aging before she meets her husband, the man who believes himself to be a victim or an incel of some sort will mock the aging woman, laugh at her for hitting the wall, for starting to age prematurely. He may laugh at her and say that she's hitting the wall and that her aging, her premature aging, is somehow an act of retribution for limiting his potential as a young student on the dating market. There's also a saying that men age like fine wine, and women age like spoiled milk in the fridge. So apparently, there's a wall for men as well as a wall for women. Yes, I want to welcome the dude Sean to the show. Welcome, welcome. It's going to be a very interesting topic. Feel free to call the show in the next segment. Okay, and so as I was saying, how does the wall differ between genders? He says the wall is a champion. Yes, the wall is a champion. Okay, but men have walls too. But what kind of wall? Women have wall, men have wall. But how does the wall differ um, by gender? We'll talk about that later. But for right now, each man is different. Some men love really, really young girls who are like 19, 20, 21, so forth. Most of MGTOW agrees that the wall is ideally around age 30. But there are some men who love Just a little sprinkling of seasoning, if you know what I mean. A little bit, not too much. If you look at the thumbnail of this show, the lady to the right is heavily seasoned, but the one to the left is not seasoned at all. She could be right around 25 or so. But in 5 more years, when she's 30, she's only going to be lightly seasoned, just a little sprinkling of seasoning, not too much. Some men love a little bit of seasoning. Otherwise, if that wasn't true, the word MILF wouldn't be a thing, and it wouldn't be a highly searched tagline on porn websites. Words like MILF, like cougar, and so forth. So some men love their meat a little bit seasoned, but not too much. Other men love the really, really young women, and at the first sign of aging, they're checking out, they're out of there. So we're going to talk about, on this show, we're going to talk about what is the wall by members of each gender, by different, what does each, yes, later on we're going to talk about what is the wall based on gender, but then we're also going to talk about as well, what is the what is the when is the wall based on the perspective of each individual male? What age do you consider the wall to be at? We'll take a break right here. When we get back, we'll be taking your calls, and I hope you'll be joining me then. Keep it locked and fast and up front. Welcome back to Franklin Upfront Live, an audio file for audiophiles. This week's topic: where, perhaps when, is the wall? In this segment, we'll be taking your calls, and the rules for calling the show is to keep it short and allow time for others to call the show, and to stick to the topic to the best of your abilities, and to refrain from any disparaging comments, especially as it pertains to age, race, and gender, and the like. Okay, so as we wait for callers to call the show, I will continue on the topic of the day. When is the wall? As I was saying in the previous segment, each man considers the wall, considers each man has his own idea as to when the wall is, as to what age a female would be to officially hit the wall, and what is your official cutoff point, the age for which you know for certain that you won't date a certain woman, you won't date women past that age. For me personally, that age is 40. I prefer women between 22 and 38. All right, we have Blockchain DXB. Welcome to the show. Welcome, welcome. Yes, welcome. Feel free to call the show if you would like. I'm talking about women hitting the wall. What age would you consider to be the wall? When is the wall? Okay, whenever you feel comfortable. So for me personally, I prefer dating women between the ages of 22 and 38. Yes, the wall is a MGTOW or Manosohere jargon that they use to describe an aging female, the age that she is no longer attractive as she starts to age. What would that wall, what age do you consider a female to be no longer in her prime of physical attraction? Yes, he says that makes sense. It makes absolute sense. 50? He says, blockchain says 50. Okay, 50 plus. Majority of the manosphere believe it's 30. Do you believe a 30-year-old is too old to be found physically attractive? As far as I'm concerned, she still have a lot more years left in her. She's not that old. So my personal taste in women, as it relates to their age, I like women who are not too young, not too old, right around between 25 and 35. I will date them between 22 and 38, but primarily between 25 and 35. But I won't go over 40. 40 for me is too old. Even though in recent years we see where there are women who are more who have remained younger, who have retained their youth. Past the age of 40. So blockchain rather, asked me, he says, true, it makes sense, but depends on how old you are too. I am 41, so maybe that's the reason why I feel this way. Okay. Yes, I can see why. I do believe that as you get older, your taste in women would evolve, and you will find women in your age group more attractive. and younger women. So do you still find 22-year-olds attractive? Younger women become less attractive for the most part. He says, of course, 100%. 100%. So your age range would be right around between 20 and 50, right? South Koreans are hot lately, haha. Oh, yes, I know the South Koreans are very hot, very attractive young girls. I enjoy watching the K-pop bands perform, the K-pop videos, so they know their stuff. Yes, indeed. No, I'm not from Germany. I'm from Los Angeles, California. But I was born in Jamaica. Okay. So where are you from, blockchain? From Dubai. Okay, welcome to the show. Glad to have listeners and callers from Dubai. Welcome. DXB equals Dubai. Oh, okay. That is good to know. Very good. So tell us something interesting about Dubai. Blockchain says that it's definitely much free and better than some democratic states in the US. All I should say. Okay, thank you for that like, the dude Sean. Thank you. I'm just gonna call you Sean. What do you prefer me call you? What should I call you? Sean is cool. All right, I'm gonna call you Sean then. Blockchain says the dude Sean is an OG here. Well, that's good to know. Welcome to Frank on the Front Live. Sean says young Latina babes is where it's at. Do you have a particular country in Latin America that you prefer women coming from? What nationality is your favorite Latina? I'm using a mic I got in Walmart. It's called the Yeti Nano. And there's some who call it the blue Yeti mic. Yes, it's very amazing. I enjoy using it. Thank you very much. It says amazing quality, bro. Thank you. So, Sean, do you have a podcast on Podbean? What do you talk about on your show if you have one? Okay, Sean says, nope, surprised me, but Team Guatemala seems to have killer boobs, upside down boobs. All right. And Blockchain says, I use Rode, but maybe I need to get a Yeti. And then Sean says, current events, I rap, comedy, and cannabis review. Okay, very good. Let me pull up your profile and then I'll subscribe to your show. And hopefully you follow me back too, Sean. And Blockchain, do you have a podcast? What do you do on your show if you have one? All right, Blockchain DXB, check it out. Okay, I'm gonna follow you too, Blockchain. Podcast is about cryptocurrency plus blockchain NFT metaverse. What is that? So, what do you think about crypto? Is it a worthy investment to pull your money in? Okay, Sean says, thank you for the follow. I'll definitely come back. I would not have found Podbean if it wasn't for MGTOW. And Blockchain says, I have another podcast called the Race Pace Podcast, more about running, endurance, sports, etc. Sean says, my MGTOW got yanked off YouTube. Yeah, man, YouTube is very strict about their content, about what people talk about. They will censor you. Their censorship is very strong. The good news is the CEO, she resigned a couple of weeks ago. So hopefully things get better under the new rulership or leadership, or maybe that was a Freudian slip. Maybe it was a Freudian slip because it felt very totalitarian over there. But oddly enough, I am also streaming on YouTube Live as well. I'm streaming simultaneously on Podbean and YouTube Live. Blockchain says, is Michael Jackson's song MGTOW? I think Billie Jean maybe? Yes, that might have been the very first MGTOW from the early 80s. The first MGTOW song. Billie Jean is not my girl. But I think Billie Jean was really more like an obsessed fanatic who had a baby. She was a single mother, probably working as a waitress in a diner, and became obsessed with Michael Jackson and said that her son from another man is Michael's son. And he's saying that the kid doesn't even look like me. So he's not my son. But definitely a warning to men about these crazy women out here, obsessed with men. All right, so Sean, you prefer um, Guatemalan women. Blockchain, you prefer Korean women. Um, and I prefer Colombian women or Eastern European women. Eastern European from like Estonia or wherever it is. Okay. Blockchain says, yeah, they are wicked. Eastern Europeans are awesome too. By the way, for those who are confused, I think he means that wicked is, I think he meant wicked in a cool way. They're wicked cool, you know? Wicked equals awesome, yes. So, Sean, what is your idea of when the wall is? What is the oldest that you would date a woman? Sean says I will talk on Hondurans, Brazilian, Cuban, and Colombian, etc. Okay, yeah, those are all very hot women too, beautiful women. They're in touch with their femininity and all that. So, what is the oldest woman that you would date? How old does she have to be the oldest? Mexican, El Salvador, all very beautiful women. Mexicans and Salvadorans are queens. Filipinos are delicious too. Clean as fuck. AF. Yes, I've had a couple of Filipinos. I know they're good. Good women. Decent women. Filipinos are very hygienic, says Blockchain. Someone says, I don't care right now. I'm more into getting right with God. Oh, that's what the call meant. Okay, yes. Seek ye first the kingdom of God. That is true. And when you seek God first, He will help you find a good woman, you know. Someone says, I was a child until 2020. And then what happened? Well, a Chad is like the cool boy, the jocks, the athletic type guys. The white boys are Chads, and the black guys are like Tyrones. And they're the guys who get all the girls. And you know, one of those things that professional where the girl says, he gotta be 6 feet, He gotta be six. He gotta be he gotta earn six figures. You know, the alpha males, those are chads. All right. Sean says, I had any girl I wanted. Um, I decided who and are a waste of time, or oh, women. I decided women are a waste of time. Okay. Okay. Very good. So, what makes you think women are a waste of time? Sean says, life is short and you can fuck yourself to hell. With the wrong, troublesome type woman, yes, you can. Absolutely. So, when you said, seek ye first the kingdom of God, God will find you the right woman, the right wife. Somebody you can build with. Most importantly, you can build with them, build empires, build families, and all that. Build generational wealth. And it's more important to foster relationships with people that matter, family, and etc. Yes, Sean, you're right. Do you find that the marriages that survive longer are the marriages that started out with the couple being friends first? Because the reason why I say that I have a theory that the best marriages started out with a couple being friends first. So I want to know what you guys think. Do you think that? Do you think that theory is accurate? Okay, so as I was saying before, there are different kind of men that love different women, different races of women, and different age groups of women. Most of MGTOW believes that the wall is 30, but a 30-year-old is still young, and she has many more years, good years ahead of her, formative years. I have seen some women who are up in their high 30s, they can't believe that they're as old as they are. They don't look their age or what they've been through. They are well preserved. They take care of themselves. Some people have naturally good genes. And then there are others who take care of themselves. They eat healthy, they do yoga, they exercise, they jog, and all these things. Blockchain says, yes, you are right. Some are blessed with good genes, or gifted with good genes, rather. And then there's some who have both to their advantage. Not only are they blessed with good genes, but they also eat well and exercise and have good friends and laugh a lot. Laughter is good medicine too, you know. Blockchain says I do lots of running, yoga, obstacle course racing. That's good to keep your mind sharp and engaged and healthy, and your body too, mind, body, and soul. The three elements of your existence. Blockchain says you should look up Spartan race and tough mudder. Okay, this looks like military training. I'm now on Spartan.com, and they're climbing fences and all these things. It looks like military training. They bring over tires too. It seems to take place in Jacksonville, Florida. Annual event, am I right? It's fun. You've done over 60 of them. Well, yes, I mean, it definitely keeps your mind engaged, mind, body, and soul. You know, you have an interview with the CEO coming up, says blockchain. Very good, congratulations. Wishing you all the best. Blockchain also says plus good women at these events. Well, that would be an incentive for the men to show off now, wouldn't it? There is an incentive to push the men to go further. So, for those who are interested, Spartan Tough Mudder takes place in December of each year. I think it's an annual event. And it takes place in, is that Jacksonville, Florida? Please confirm. Oh, okay, okay. Blockchain says it's every week all over the world. Over 100 countries now. Okay, that's good to know. You know what? These events, it keep people occupied because when people are idle, it's not good. So they need something to engage them to keep them occupied. And they need the incentive of the female approval to push them harder to do more, to keep them occupied so they don't become idle and get mixed up in all kinds of mischief. So that's it. That's actually really good that they have it all over the world every week. What day of the week do they have it held? Once you sign up, you start training for it. Okay, very good. Saturdays and Sundays, both days. So where can people sign up? On Spartan.com or let me see something here. I think it's Spartan.com. Check out some YouTube. It's wicked. Yeah, check the location. Okay. Based on location, you will get information about Los Angeles. All right, so he's telling me that based on your IP address and your location, you will automatically receive information about your location, where you're situated. And blockchain also says some hot women and fit ones too. Oh yeah, fit women are awesome. This is awesome right here. This is what life should be about. And they also have races too. Blockchain says death metal plus Bitcoin plus obstacle course race plus beer equals the best combo in life. Check out Tough Mudder too, bro. You may like it. Well, I certainly hope I will. Tough Mudder. It sounds fun. Blockchain says they're planning one in Barbados this year. Do you know if they have one in Jamaica too? Let me search and see if I can find for Jamaica. Okay, not quite yet, but hopefully quite soon they'll have. You can have one in Jamaica. Okay, so as it relates to the topic here for this week, thank you, Sean, once again for liking the show. Thank you very much. When is the wall? Interestingly enough, if you participate in the Spartan races, there might not be a wall. The wall might be defeated by means of physical activity. You might keep yourself younger for much longer. And the wall might be defeated for members of both genders. But as of right now, the wall is still a reality. And it is defeating male attention and attraction towards a female. As I was saying before, some men love females with a little bit of seasoning. And that's true not only racially in the event that they're of a mixed heritage, but also as it relates to their age group where they're a little bit older. They're either too young or too old. For example, too old might be around 40 for some, but 35, 33, 37 is fine. Where they start that they show a little bit of maturity, but they're not old. You see what I mean? And as a result of that, That particular woman might have a few more years of luck attracting male attention or attracting attention from the kind of men who they consider to be alpha male or high value. But you know how you know a female has really hit the wall? When she stopped attracting the attention of the alpha males and the high value males, or at least at the very least whom she considers to be a high value male, and she's only attracting the attention of the men that she would not have dated in her prime, and she still don't find them attractive, but because she's so desperate for attention, she finds herself reluctantly validating those men in their pursuit of her. Ultimately, she may even find herself sleeping with such men. That is the wall. So for a female, if that has been your experience, ask yourself how old you were. And whatever that age was at the time, that was the wall for that particular woman. For another woman, however, it might be a different age group. It depends on how nature has blessed the female. It depends on how what card she was dealt prior to her birth, the kind of experiences that she would have based on what features were given to her in life. With the advancement of modern medicine, we find that the bar is being raised, and as such, more and more women are hitting the wall at an older age than they otherwise would have. But also with the advancement of with with the advancement of modern medicine comes more creature comforts, and with creature comforts come laziness and complacency. And with laziness, we find that women from backgrounds for which they have less access to information, education, and nutrition and fitness and health and well-being, we find that those women are hitting the wall at a much earlier age. It depends on your location, location. So they might hit the age at 20. They might hit the wall at 27, but a woman who has more privilege may hit the wall at 42, maybe, or 45 even. Now, when I say the wall, I am only talking about, as far as females are concerned, I'm only talking about physical attraction. I'm talking, when I say the wall, first of all, I'm talking about a person's single greatest value. At what age group is a person being sought after for their single greatest value? Sean says no matter what age they are, you will never get accountability from a woman. Yes, that is true. You will never get accountability from a woman or the men who defend them, the simps, the manzinas, and so on. But I was saying that the wall is primarily pertaining to at what age is a person sought after for their single greatest value. So for women, that single greatest value happens to be their physical appearance, their sex appeal, if you will, what made them sexually attractive. For a man, it might somewhat be having to do with his physical appearance and his sex appeal too. But that's not his single greatest value. That's only a secondary consideration in the eye of a female admirer. So the wall is different for men than it is for women. At what age do men hit the wall? And what does the wall mean for a man? We take a break right here. And when we come back, we'll be delving into that particular segment. And I hope you'll join me then. Keep it locked and frank and upfront. Okay, welcome back to Franklin Upfront Live, an audio file for audio files. One moment. Okay, much better. Yes, this week's topic: where, perhaps when is the wall? In the previous segment, I said that the wall is different by gender because it's based on the oldest or the most advanced age that a person should be at or would find themselves at in order for them to be sought after by members of the opposite gender for their primary value. And I said that for the females, her primary value is her sex appeal and her physical prowess. And that for the man, that sex appeal is only secondary. But what is his primary um, value for which he's sought after by members of the opposite gender? Okay, so let's dive into it. This is biological now because men are visual creatures. The reason why the physical sex appeal of the female is so important for the man is because men are visual creatures. Men are visually stimulated by a female. Meanwhile, the female is either motivated by one of two things. She's either audibly stimulated, which is why men have to learn verbal game. You gotta spit some game. That's number one. Or number two, she's motivated by money, which makes her a prostitute. So unless she's a prostitute, she's otherwise motivated by verbal game. But even so, that is still not the man's primary value that a female seeks him out for. And even if it was, it never goes away. If anything, it gets better with time. But you know what does fade in the sunset as a man gets older? His ability to provide. Remember, I told you the female is either motivated by verbal words or money. Men are visual, that's why women wear makeup. And men tell lies because women are audibly stimulated. Men tell lies, women wear makeup. So women wear their lies on their faces when they wear the makeup because that's not what they look like when they wake up in the morning. And men tell verbal lies because women are audibly stimulated and men are visually stimulated. But she's also motivated by the man's ability to provide for his family, which makes her a prostitute. But on a deep evolutionary unconscious level, it probably just means that she really is interested in seeing whether or not he's capable of providing for his family. If she should give him children, will he protect them and provide for them? And so, only a man at the prime of his life, in the fittest and most formidable shape, is capable of providing and protecting the two P's. So, and even when he's further up in life, when he's a little bit older, between 50 and 70, he can still provide, he can still work and provide and protect. But then after 70, maybe even 75 in some cases, he starts to slow down a little bit. Between 75 and 80, the man should have already been retired. He should have his pension, or he should be receiving a pension rather, and he should have invested that pension in starting up a little business, maybe a bakery or a bar or a florist shop, flower shop, or whatever it is. So then, financially, he can provide still. He shouldn't be having kids at that age unless he's super, super rich, unless he is just loaded like that. But whether he does or doesn't have kids and whether or not he can provide for them, can he protect them in the event of imminent danger? Does he have the physical fitness? He's probably still a formidable match if he is an ex Marine or ex Navy SEAL or an ex policeman or an ex security guard, even. He probably has weapons training, home security training, car security training, and all these things from his many decades of his career working in those fields. So he's capable of protecting himself. And he might be a martial artist. Like, for example, Chuck Norris comes to mind. This coming Friday on March 10th, Chuck Norris will be turning 83 years old. And I bet he's still very fit for his age because of the martial arts he practiced throughout his lifetime. He even outlived his Walker, Texas co star, Jimmy Trivette, who died last year at the age of 65. Rest in peace, Jimmy. So, um, there are others like Chuck Norris who are physically fit and formidable at their age still. Even so, they're no match for a 25-year-old senseless brute who just goes about massacring everybody. They're still not that strong. They're still a declining muscle mass past a certain age. And for that reason, many men find that they have to rely on weapons and arms more than their physical combat skills in later years because of that. But it's still not the same though. It can be compared. A gun versus martial arts can be compared to a natural erection versus Viagra. Right, so um and how better would a female know whether or not a man is still fully fit and capable of protecting her and her kids than bedroom activities? Because both are physical and both requires stamina. And the way he makes love to her demonstrates on whether demonstrates whether or not he still has natural stamina. You know when someone is starting to decline, and somehow it translates to the way he makes love translates to whether or not he's physically capable of defending her without being armed. So, as far as his values are concerned relating to provisions and protection, based on that theory, the wall for a man would be around, I would say 75 or 80. Unlike the female beauty, where it is left up to the interpretation of the individual male, the male stamina and drive and mental sharpness is not so much left up to interpretation. It's kind of a universal knowledge. When someone is on the decline, it's kind of noticeable, especially when they're out in public. And as such, most can agree that with there being some rare exceptions like Chuck Norris or Arnold Schwarzenegger, that for the most part, men hit the wall of their physical prime in their 60s or maybe around 70. But they can still provide financially, or they should be able to, well up into their 80s. But that, or even for the rest of their lives, even unless they're just bad luck it like that and they have a curse on them or whatever it is. Apart from that, a woman's value, people start to notice her before she even acquires the legal age of majority. She noticed that men start looking at her in a sexual manner from she's even like 16. And if she matures really fast, men might not think twice that she might still be underage, so she would have to tell them. And if he has any moral compass whatsoever, then he will leave her alone for her being underage. But she already has that attraction and that sex appeal from the time that she's really young. Up until maybe her 40s. Meanwhile, a boy her own age when she's younger, unless he's exceptionally gifted, doesn't immediately realize his earning potential. And so, therefore, if he's starting from scratch with no support group, he will not be noticeable for a while. But they're probably watching him in secret to see what he can do or what he will do. But he's not particularly noticeable at first until he reaches around 25, 30, 35, you know, and then people start noticing him a little bit, then maybe more and more, and it gradually snowballs until he has a lot of recognition and he's known for something great and he has a lot of respect and he earns for it. And that could be the Spartan race or the tough mudder rather, or it could be martial arts or MMA or dirt bike racing or NASCAR or something. Or it could be a podcast or a YouTube channel or whatever it is. Or or whatever it is. But whatever it is, though, her value is recognized by the public early in life, but then she goes on an early decline. The man is up to a late start, and his value transcends longer than hers did, even if they would have noticeably started at the same time. Her value is her beauty. She starts gaining sex appeal in her teenage years and goes through until her 40s or 50s or whenever it is. Meanwhile, the man's value starts right around 25, about 10 years after his female counterpart, and goes through until he is in his 60s physically, as it relates to his physical prowess to be athletic and combative, but for the rest of his life, as it relates to his finances, he starts earning serious bucks unless he is a rare exception and he's a child prodigy. He otherwise starts earning around 25, 27 ish. It snowballs into his 30s, then more into his 40s. Then in his 50s, he reaches the peak and pinnacle of his career. That's why a majority of the presidents and prime ministers and CEOs are in their 50s or 60s. So between 50 and 70, he's at the very peak of his career. That's when he starts getting all the promotions and all that, and all the pay raises. Just when it's almost over. And for many years, they fixed the system to work that way on purpose. But now, the retirement age, people are stronger for longer, so the retirement age is going up now past 70, and as such, they have to rethink that. But more people are working for themselves. They are quitting the 9 to 5, quitting the rat race, and going into business for themselves. And with them being their own entrepreneurs, they are working past retirement age well up into their 80s and even their 90s. So, as a result of that, we find that men's earning potential is it starts later than the female sex appeal, but it goes on for the rest of their lives or even beyond that. If he's smart, if he makes all the right moves, and if he invests wisely. He might start to physically decline around in his 70s, maybe 60s, depending on the man. But his earning potential, his earning value, well, that goes on for the rest of his life, especially if he's smart. Passive income are forms of investments. That's like stocks, crypto, forex trading, all those things. Buying shares in the companies like Wells Fargo or Toyota or Honda or Delta Airlines and keep flipping the stocks until you make a profit off it. Just keep flipping it. Reinvesting the capital and flipping the stocks. And as such, we find that men's earning potential should or is expected to last for the rest of his natural life, even if he lives past 100. Even if he's not working anymore, he should have enough savings or pensions coming in or income from several sources coming in, passive income sources, just in case he's sick or disabled and can't work no more. That he should be in the money, big time. He should have enough knowledge and experience to reinvest. Speaking of which, that's another value a man has, the knowledge of being older, that his 25-year-old counterpart wouldn't have. The 25-year-old might be able to beat him in martial arts or street fighting, but he can't beat him in experience. He doesn't have the old man's memories, so the old man is more valuable as it relates to experience and knowledge. And he knows to make all the right moves, so the 25-year-old doesn't know how to make it. He's barely learning it just about now. Barely. And it will take him decades more to acquire the knowledge of the old man. Now, reading books and listening to podcasts might get him up to speed a little bit, but it's still not the same as living through it, especially if he struggles to have imagination or he has ADHD and he can't settle down and get started and be a self starter. And even if he can, once again, it's not his personal memories. He might not imagine it as accurately as it happened. Therefore, it's still not the same as experiencing it. Not the same as experiencing it firsthand. It will still take him many more decades, even if the books get him up to speed. It will still take him many more decades to actually practice what he learned and learn a lot more. The books that he reads or read is only a sneak peek into the experience of the man who already has the knowledge and the memories from his own life experience. As a result of that, men have three values: physical value of being a protector, financial value of being a provider, and the knowledge that comes with his years of experience. He physically hit the wall either in his 60s or 70s, depending on the individual. Unless he's bad lucky, his financial wall doesn't exist. It's like for the rest of his life. It's lifelong, for eternity, or even after his life, even after he has passed on. His kids and grandkids should still be reaping the benefits of his earnings. If he's lucky and if he's smart. And his knowledge, his mental wall, unless he's suffered from dementia or Alzheimer's, he's otherwise not supposed to lose his knowledge or memories either. That is also for the rest of his life. And if he produces enough books or podcasts, then his legacy will transcend his life. People will still benefit from the value of his knowledge even after he has passed on, long after he has passed on, for centuries after he has passed on, centuries even, depending on how much he accomplished while he was on earth during his lifetime. Meanwhile, a female loses her physical sex appeal in her 40s or 50s, depending on the eye of the beholder. But she may also have financial or mental strengths, but that's not her primary value that the opposite gender finds in her. That's a secondary value. It's only a secondary value after her physical beauty has been considered. Her physical beauty is her primary value. Everything else is secondary. The man is very opposite in as such where his physical sex appeal is his secondary value. But his protection, provision, and knowledge, all three of those are primary. But then you maybe ask, why is the physical sex appeal of the female so much more important? And why are men hardwired to regard it as being important, or as being the primary focus, rather? Well, we evolved that way based on history, because men always look for the fittest woman who can provide healthy babies. That was throughout all of prehistory. She had to be fit to produce the healthiest babies, and only the tallest, thickest women with the broadest hips was capable of doing so. The the length of her hair is a signifier that she doesn't have any illness that will make her hair fall out, a sign of health. And the shinier and sheenier her hair is the more it indicates that she's capable of growing perfectly good, natural, jet black, silky hair. The longer it is and the silkier it is. That's why quite often women who wear extensions and weaves and perms, the perm is quite often made from, or the weaves, not the perm, I'm sorry, the perm is like the cream, the chemical. The weaves are made from dead Indian, the hair of a dead Indian guy who has straighter hair, who is more capable of growing the hair that would appear silkier and shinier. Even if the female doesn't have that hair texture naturally, she may have frizzy hair or curly hair. But even she wants silky, straight, long hair, just to give the indicator that she can grow healthy hair with shiny hair. That's why they wear red lipstick, so the lips could appear more youthful in appearance and more plump and more vigorous. But some of them, they be using that makeup on overkill because by insecurity, wild. And as such, men look for the youngest, tallest, thickest, but the thickest, broadest hips, who's capable of producing the babies he wanted. That's why in the modern world women get butt lift, Brazilian butt lift, and all those things. And that's why they were getting boob jobs and butt lifts and all these things, and they were push up bras so the breasts can appear more perky and more youthful. So they can give the illusion of a youthful exuberance and a strong woman capable of producing healthy offsprings to satisfy the evolutionary value that men place on women's physical appearance. That's the reasoning behind it. It's all evolution. It's how we evolved. Likewise, women are evolved to find men attractive based on sports, physical prowess that is often showcased in sports or martial arts or fighting or some other kind of physical domination or even sexual stamina. So the origin of the wall actually comes from evolution based on that. It comes from evolution, comes from how we were hardwired and programmed based on evolution, based on the information that our DNA stored and passed on to each of the following generation until we get to here. Many of the challenges here that our ancestors went through prehistorically no longer exist, but there are more modern challenges that are likely to be defeated if we obey our cravings based on evolution. And oftentimes we're not even conscious of it. It was simply obeying what comes naturally to us. We're just simply obeying our priorities. But it makes sense. It's not something inherently bad. It's a guide to how to live. It's a pecking order of selective breeding to breed only the strongest and smartest people who are likely to survive cataclysms and calamities, while the weaker people are left to perish or they are incelled out of existence and their bloodline dies with them. Okay, we have a new guest in studio, Lizzie White. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have about 10 minutes left. Lizzie, if you want to call the show, go ahead. We have 10 minutes left on the show. Hello, I'm doing quite all right. And how are you? Lizzie says I'm great. That's good to know, Lizzie. I'm talking about the wall. Do you know what the wall is? Well, it's a word often used in the manosphere to describe the oldest age that a female would reach before we stop dating her. They call it hitting the wall. An aging female is hitting the wall. So, Lizzie, I take it that you're a female, right? Yes. So, for you, the opposite would be true. Do you prefer men or women? You prefer men. All right. So, what is the oldest age a man has to be before he's no longer attractive to you? Okay, Lizzie says, actually, I find old dudes attractive, but I would date within 10 years. And by 10 years, I assume 10 years of your own age group, right? Within 10 years of her own age group, just for practicality. Okay, so how old are you? 27. So within 10 years, would that be 10 years older or 10 years younger of your age? Both? All right, sounds good. But then you say that you're also attracted to older men. She said both if he's the right guy. Okay, she says yes, they treat women better usually. Also, stronger leadership. Which is funny, I was just talking about that. What is the single greatest value that a man is highly sought after for based on, or highly sought after for by members of the opposite gender? She said it depends on the female. And that she also wants a partner. So are you currently single? She says, I want a partner, someone security, and that yes, she is single. Okay, well, why don't you tell us what kind of partner you're looking for in particular? And then she said, for some people, looks or money matter more. Okay, so what are you personally looking for in a partner? I love someone who has a life direction, that are passionate about respects, that are passionate, respects God and women, and also want to raise a family. Strong enough to be a good dad, but not like athletic. You don't like athletic men? All right, Lizzie says yes and no. They look good, but typically base their whole personality on being super athletic. I'm looking for a family man. Okay, Lizzie, do you have any particular gender or racial preference? Just an average woman looking for an average man, she says. Not really looking for any particular racial or gender preference. Or did I say gender preference? I meant age preference. I'm sorry. Age or racial preference. Do you have any height or weight preference? I speak Spanish intermediate and travel a lot, so I'm open. Height, not really, she says. Weight just in shape enough to live a normal life. Okay. Seems like your requirements are quite modest. That's actually a good thing. So, Lizzie, have you ever heard about an organization or an online movement called MGTOW? Men going their own way? MGTOW stands for men going their own way, and it's been going on for nearly 10 years now. It's basically men in the West, Western countries, who are frustrated with the current dating scene, and as such, they are seeking to either focus on their own personal goals and dreams to go their own way, literally, or there's another subsection of MGTOW calling themselves the passport bros, who are seeking to date women overseas because they say that Western women are very toxic. What do you think about that? Caller, you're live on air. Welcome to Frank on the Front Live. Hello? Hello, caller? I can't hear anything. We seem to have lost the caller. Can you hear me? Okay, perhaps if you want to call back the program. Okay, caller, you're live on air. Welcome to Frank on the Front Live. Okay, I can hear you now. Go ahead. Hello? Hello? Okay, let us switch to something else over here. Okay, can you hear me? Okay, welcome back. Yes, I can hear you. Okay. Okay, that's a very valid point. What would your solution be to fixing the problem in America as it relates to dating and relationships? That is true. So, what do you think is responsible for the paradigm shift that took place that caused the women to want to take over and be their own boss? Yes, that's very true. Do you think the feminism is to blame for that? Okay, we seem to have lost our caller. Perhaps if you want to call back the show. Okay, we have a couple more minutes left. Okay, Lizzie, thank you for calling the show. Perhaps you could pick it up some other time. I want to thank all of my supporters for supporting the show today. Thank you for many thanks to Sean, to Lizzie, and to Blockchain. And that brings us to the end of Frank on Upfront Live and Audio File for Audio File for this week. Next week's topic will be the importance of having a strong support group. Do join us then. I am Mr. Franklin, and this has been Frank and Upfront.